Welcome back. It's been a while, but life has a way of getting in the way of life, I guess. But I'm back with a new feature, and it's tarot deck reviews. So this is my first one. I've reviewed records for years, so I figure, I can transition. I can grow. I can make it work. So with that, if there are any features you want to see added to my reviews, or any decks you would like to see me review, please leave a comment below. I was sent the Native Spirit Tarot deck from DeBry, and they've been awesome enough to offer 20% discount to anyone who uses the link below to purchase through their website. Or, you could use the code HealingArts at checkout and you get 20% off. Very rad of them. So let's get into the review. So as you can see, the packaging, it's very compact. It's just the box, the cards, and a booklet. Nothing extra, nothing flashy, and that helps keep it at a good price point. The patterns here on the front kind of mimic the Native American geometric style to their weaving. And then there's this like token here, one of each here, of each of the suits, that is either stone or, iron or something, but it does represent more of what I feel like a Mesoamerican look than, say, the Plains natives that the cards tend to depict. The art here is by Max Mittenkov, who is a digital artist out of Belarus. And the booklet states that the descriptions are based on the interpretations of Arthur White, who is known for Rider-Waite, and expanded upon by Philip Young. So the artist and the author are two different people, which happened in the original Rider-Waite deck. However, more often than not, it leads to a disconnect between what is intended and what is represented. So we'll get into this a little bit later. Here's the booklet here. It's a little cutie booklet. It has a introduction to tarot. It has basic spread type of information and descriptions on each card, as you can see here. But that's it. So unlike most decks I've seen, there isn't a big explanation as to why this particular subject was chosen or why certain imagery was chosen, and we'll get into that at the end of the review. Okay, the cards though, they're excellent quality. I would say standard size, like a traditional Rider-Waite, none of the minis of the giants, a regular card here. The good material, solid but not too solid. They would be great for shuffling. And the design on them kind of mimics the front, with the geometric pattern, but it's a little bit brighter and easier to see. And again, here's the central fish token. But it's very cool, and I think they look great when they're laid out like that. Very sharp. And as the booklet stated that it was based on White's interpretations, you could assume that the artwork is going to be based pretty heavily on Pamela Coleman Smith's artwork, and it is. And this is the case with many, many decks, but to varying degrees of tribute, I guess we'll say. 4 suits they're using in this are coins, cups, wands, and arrows in place of swords. So it's a nice change to fit the theme. Unfortunately, they didn't quite go all the way with it, and it gets troubling when we hit the court cards, which we'll get into at the end as well. The art here was created digitally, and overall he did a pretty great job at making it look almost hand-painted. The main issue is that the artwork here is very dark, so it obscures a lot of the details, and there's a lot of fog on the cards to maybe add some mysticism or mystique, I don't know. So if you're just doing memorization and reading definitions, that's fine, it's not a big deal. But if you like to read intuitively like I do, these details add a lot extra information. I love all the weird little details. They help me connect to spirit, to the card, to the sitter, to the reading itself. And sometimes you see an aspect of a card that you've never seen before, or that never spoke to you before, and it thoroughly changes the way you read the card in the future, and that's really cool. It's all about evolution and growing, and without that, I find that these cards kind of get stuck. Also, having an artist just recreate the Rider-Waite deck, they're more prone to have trimming unnecessary features that us readers really love to see, but they think they're kind of just design and extra, not understanding that they are actually an integral part of the card itself. But that's personal preference. I love all the extra details, other than maybe the nonsense that is the Ten of Pentacles. I mean, that's just bizarre, and calm down. There's too much going on. So with all that, we're left with some dark artwork that is fairly dry and uninspired. For instance, check out the Native Spirit Moon card and the Rider-Waite Moon card. Now, when I took the pictures of these cards with my phone, they looked so much brighter, so don't be fooled. They're actually wicked dark. So the Native Spirit Moon card is a gorgeous card. The artwork's great, and it does express what it needs to, but the little detail that's missing between that and the Rider-Waite one, with the sun being on the outside of the moon, expressing the duality of a person, you know, and showing the moon's nature, you know, hidden nature and subconscious essence here, you know, to say that we're both two sides of the same coin, you know, everything has a light and a dark. The day has both sunshine and darkness, you know, depending, I guess, on where you are in the world and what time of year it is, but, you know, that it's always there in some sort of continuum, right? Is it, you know, gonna come back again at some point? You know, it's just nothing is without, and that's how I feel any card is anyhow, you know, with the reversals, but that's for another video. Subtle differences like that take a lot out of the reading for me, and you know, this happens through a bunch of the cards, and you know, it's kind of unfortunate as the graphics are really nice. So along with the darkness of these cards, the palette doesn't change very much, so they're almost all the same blue color. There's a few that are yellow and orangish, but overall they're almost all this really blue, dark blue with fog all around them, you know, and it takes the joy out of a lot of really happy cards. So look at the Three of Cups, for example, here. This looks less like a celebration and more like, I don't know, a clandestine blood drinking ceremony, which may be a celebration for some, but you know, let's get the joy. Cheers, you know, I love them all hoisting their cups there. It really lacks there, and like to that end also, the Six of Cups, you know, with the weird children on it, this is very dark. And even the Six of Pentacles, you know, that is kind of generosity, it's like a guy just with coins on the dirt. In the darkness, you know, everything is very dark, and it is tough. And the Sun card, again, much brighter in my picture here than the card itself, but it's basically just a yellow moon. You know, it looks like a day for night shot in a film. There's no vibrancy, there's no huge expression of joy like in the Rider-Waite card. I mean, they had an older boy on the horse, and the flowers are there, and that's really cool. So there's more to read into it here than zero. But it's just very dark. It's frustrating to think about how much of this artwork we are missing because it's too toned down. So some cool cards here are the Devil. I like his take on this a lot. The real card is really hard to see what's going on, so I'm glad I took this picture out for you to see. I like the take of the two people in the back of the wagon. I think that's a really telling image, and it's really oppressive and captures the Devil card really well. Out here's rad, where it's like lightning striking colonial fort, you know, and so there's this awesome comeuppance, I think, for the indigenous people. But again, the darkness, you can't really see the dude falling out of the tower, so you miss a little bit there, but overall the image is striking and really awesome. Well, my two favorites here would be the 4 and 6 of Arrows. As you can see, they use the same exact canoe outline. One has the body in it, and the other has the man, woman, and child in it. On their own, it's not much, but if these showed up in a spread together, you know, look at the link these two would create together, you know, depending on the situation. It's like a really strong statement about biding your time before you go and help someone else out to get someone out of a situation, or, you know, get yourself out of a gym, or maybe even something like leaving a relationship or a job. It's like, okay, yeah, you have to, but wait till the time is right, and then you can rise up with that 4th arrow and make the strike here, you know. There are plenty of cool details in these cards, but a lot of them are really hard to see, and I mean, anytime I have to put a card to my face to see what's going on in it, that's kind of a deal breaker for me. At the beginning of the review, I had mentioned that there was no inspiration for this noted inside the book. You know, so I had flipped through the cards before I had gotten to the booklet, and I saw what looked just to be generic representations of indigenous people from here, and I was hoping that when I got into the booklet, I would find out, you know, whom was being represented and why they chose them and how it went that way, but it wasn't in there. But it's really just a very bland white take on Native people, their customs and beliefs. The Three of Coins, for instance, has, you know, shirtless Plains natives, you know, in front of a totem pole, building a totem pole, and it's like, they didn't happen in the Plains. This is Pacific Northwest, you know. These are two different cultures just being kind of willy-nilly smashed together like it doesn't matter. It's troubling to me to see such proud cultures being reduced to generalized prop stand-ins, you know. And while they changed swords to arrows, they decided to keep page, knight, queen, and king. At least they could have done is find appropriate tribal titles instead of using the old European colonizer titles. It's insensitive at the very least, but more so, I would say it's actually pretty insulting. So really, it just all comes off to be like Native American fetishism and doesn't honor their diversity or heritage. While this deck doesn't really fit my reading style, that doesn't mean it's not going to speak volumes to someone else. You know, the artwork is very cool and it's very expressive. And that's the beauty of life, and by extension tarot. We're all into different things. You know, art's very subjective. So if you're drawn to this deck, by all means check it out and use the link below to get it 20% off. And while you're there, check out DeBry's other decks. They have several on hand that look pretty great, and I can't wait to check them out myself. So while you're there, use the link below, use the code HealingArts, save 20%. This was my first tarot review, so if there are any features you'd like me to add or any decks you'd like me to review, post below and I will do my best to get them covered. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy reading, and I'll see you soon.